Okay, so gas exchange, right? So, I'm like really bad at drawing, but actually I'm really good, look at that. Okay, so, anybody know the atmospheric partial pressure of oxygen?
760.
760? Well, that's
Sea level.
barometric pressure, right?
Oh.
So that's all the gases combined.
Is it like 21 or something?
Oh, 160.
Yeah, it's like 155.
Okay, so it's super not close. I was thinking, oh wait, I was thinking oxygen. What was your question?
It's
It
that,
is 21% of the air. though.
yeah,
Ah,
21% of the air, but
But like the actual
Pressure of it.
yeah, so.
So what's 760?
So one really good principle about gas exchange, about concentration gradients and stuff, things always want to go from a high concentration or pressure to a low concentration or pressure, right? So what's the pressure of oxygen in the alveoli?
So like 106.
Yeah, it's 105, 106, right? So this change in pressure causes air to come into the lungs, right? Okay, so if we take like, zoom in here, so we've got an alveoli, right? And the pressure is 106. Okay, and then we'll kind of just really simplify circulation here. Okay, so let's say this is your venous return back to your heart, which goes to your lungs, right? What's the pressure of oxygen here in the unoxygenated blood?
40 something?
Yeah.
45?
Yeah, it's like is it 45, 40?
I have 40.
I should probably give you solid numbers here, so. I wouldn't worry I can't say that. I'm always like, don't worry about that, and then it's like,
And then
no,
it's
this
right
is
on
on
the
the test. No, but I wouldn't be overly concerned about what the actual pressures are. I mean, you should have a rough idea, like if it gives you an option, like A, B, C, D, what's the pressure in the alveoli? You're not gonna get 600, right? But the concept is that the pressure is gonna diffuse from a high to low pressure, right? And so in the venous return, we've got 40, right? And so we've got this oxygen in the alveoli and this pressure in the alveoli, this pressure in the capillary, right? So what's going to happen is this is going to want to go this way, right?
Mhm.
And so what we get after the gas exchange occurs, we get about 104, right? So it kind of equilibrates a little bit, it kind of finds a middle area. And then, so this is the pressure of oxygen in the oxygenated capillary, which goes back to the left atria, left ventricle, out to the rest of the body, right?
Right.
Okay, and so then it circulates, right, to the tissues. And what's the pressure of oxygen in the tissues?
40.
40, yeah. So, see, this book says, so this says it's like 40 in the interstitial and then 20 in the actual tissues. But yeah, I told you 40 before because that's what I remember.
I think that's what Brother Hunt told
Yeah,
us.
he
he said
40.
Okay, let's do that then. That's where it says that in my book. Yeah, I don't think it really matters. So, all right, so we've got 100 here and we got 40 here. So which direction is it going to go? Down into the tissues, right? And then what we end up with is returning, we've got 40 again, right? So this concept of, kind of going from high to low, we've got an abundance of oxygen in the air around us, which drives it into the lungs, and that change causes it to go from the alveoli to the capillaries, and then we're using up that oxygen in the tissues, so that's depleting and lowering the pressure, which is a driving force to give off the oxygen, right? And this is all in combination with hemoglobin and the affinity that we were talking about before. It's not just pressure, like magically pulling it, but it's a combination of all these factors.
Right.
But pressure, when we're talking about this part, this pressure, like this is the driving force of physically filling your lungs up with air, right? It's not like your lungs are muscles that flex open and stuff and like suck air in. It's just you have respiratory muscles that increase volume, lower pressure, which drives air in, right?
Right.
And so, all right, so and then when we're talking about CO2, it's just the opposite type of levels as where the oxygen is happening, right? So we're gonna have a higher level of CO2, but these changes aren't as great, right? So we'll have about, like this is CO2 right here. I should do this in different colors. So CO2 in venous return is 45 about, right? And in the alveoli, it's about 40. So CO2 is going to want to go this way, right?
Mhm.
And then what we end up with is 40 over here. So it's not as big of a change as oxygen, right? And so this diffusion isn't happening as rapidly as oxygen, basically. And then at the tissues, we've got, let's see, so we've got 40, so we've got like 45 in the tissues because we're making CO2 and 40. So it's going to want to go this way, so it goes back up to 45, right? So there's a lot lower variability of CO2 exchange, right? And this is one of the reasons why respiration is more influenced by the amount of CO2 in the blood than oxygen, right? I don't know if you've heard that in class, but that's kind of important. Like your chemoreceptors in your brain are more sensitive to the amount of carbon dioxide to stimulate respiration than they are to oxygen, right? Because there's less variability that can occur, right? And this is kind of your safe range, 40 to 45. But here we've got 40 to 105 or so, you know, and so there's going to be a lot of change, and so your body's not as sensitive to that change than it is carbon dioxide. If you're getting down to like 20 CO2 or like 100 CO2, your body knows that something crazy's happened, and it's going to, you know, ramp up the respiration or slow it down. So, but I would just remember that fact because it'll probably be on your test, because it usually is. But who knows?
That CO2 is more important in respiration.
Well, it stimulates respiration more
Okay.
than
More than
CO2.
oxygen.
Yeah, or oxygen.
Okay.
Right.